You sitting at a red light. BMW 3 Series to your left. You're in an Audi A4. Cold glances. The light turns green. Both of you accelerate harder than necessary. Nobody wins. Nobody cares. You just performed masculinity for an audience of one person who doesn't give a shit. Tribal warfare disguised as a commute. And the worst part, you think this is about the cars. I'm Rick. I fell for this exact manipulation. For 6 years, I defended BMW online like my life depended on it. Spent hours in forum threads arguing about steering feel with strangers I'd never meet. Called Audi drivers sheep who needed computers to drive for them. I was wrong. Not about the engineering differences, those are real. I was wrong about caring that much. About letting a corporation I don't work for turn me into their unpaid marketing department. Today I'm showing you the psychological warfare that worked on me, that's working on you right now, and why 2 marketing departments are laughing all the way to the bank while you fight their battles for free. Here's what we're covering. The actual engineering differences between these brands, because they exist, and pretending they don't, makes me a liar. The forum analysis I did, 500 plus threads, 40 hours of counting arguments, looking for patterns. The psychology study that proves most people defending these brands have never driven either one. And the personal story that's going to make you uncomfortable, because it should. This isn't going to be diplomatic. You're going to see yourself in this, and you're not going to like it. Good. That discomfort is the point. Let's start with what BMW drivers actually believe, using their own words. I pulled this from Bimmerpost, 847 replies, titled, Why I'll Never Buy Audi. Quote, I switched from Audi to 330i, and the steering alone was worth it. The Audi felt like I was playing a video game. The BMW feels like I'm connected to the road. This isn't one person. This is the core belief system. BMW drivers genuinely believe their car is a precision instrument. Steering feel means the wheel telegraphs what the tires are doing. You feel road texture, weight transfer, grip levels. Rear-wheel drive means the back wheels push the car, the front wheels steer, rolls separated like they should be. 50-50 weight distribution means the engine sits behind the front axle, chassis balanced. The B58 inline-6, 382 horsepower, 7,000 RPM sounds like angels screaming. Throttle steers the car through corners, not just the wheel. These are real advantages. I'm not strawmanning. This is what they value, and it's legitimate. But here are the weaknesses they won't admit until you've earned trust. iDrive, BMW's infotainment system, was designed by someone who genuinely hates humans. Menus buried 3 layers deep. Climate control requires 4 button presses. Your actual personality atrophies in the background while you memorize a user interface. $65,000 car with a $40,000 interior. Cheap plastics everywhere. You paid luxury money for a cabin that feels like they spent the budget on the engine and forgot you'd be sitting inside. And rear-wheel drive on dealer-run flats in the rain? Terrifying. The back end steps out in second gear, pulling onto the highway. You're not driving a precision instrument, you're managing a physics problem. One Bimmerpost user admitted, quote, the interior feels like we got scammed, and I'm wondering if I bought this to impress people at stoplights instead of for actual driving. 47 people attacked him in the replies, now Audi drivers. Their core belief? BMW guys are stuck in 1985. Reddit, 342 upvotes. Every BMW owner I know has a second car for winter. I live in Minnesota. Quattro is the difference between confidence and calling a tow truck at 6 a.m. Quattro, Audi's all-wheel drive system, starts at 40-60 split front to rear, shifts up to 70% front or 85% rear depending on grip. 4 contact patches distributing power instead of 2. This is physics, not marketing. In snow, in rain, in gravel, Quattro works. Premium interior means soft touch surfaces everywhere, real aluminum trim, a cabin that feels like $62,000. Matrix LED headlights with 16 independently controlled sections that selectively dim around oncoming traffic while keeping high beams on everywhere else. MMI, their infotainment has logical menus. Climate control is 2 button presses. You're not fighting the car to change temperature, but the weaknesses. Steering is completely numb. You're piloting a spaceship with zero connection to the road. The wheel is a suggestion box. You turn it, the car eventually responds, but you have no idea what the tires are doing until you've already lost grip. 200 pounds heavier than the equivalent BMW because all-wheel drive adds weight. Less agile in corners, more momentum to manage. And the 2.0 T four-cylinder sounds like an industrial vacuum cleaner. Zero character. You're commuting in an appliance. Autodesign Forum, quote, steering is isolated, I'll admit. But commuting in Seattle rain 5 days a week, I'll take Quattro over steering feel I'd use twice a month on a Sunday backroad drive. 31 people called him a fake enthusiast. Notice the pattern? BMW mentions steering feel 47 times in the threads I analyzed. Rear-wheel drive dynamics 38 times. Engine character 31 times. Audi mentions Quattro 52 times. Audi mentions Quattro 52 times. Interior quality 44 times. Technology 36 times. They're screaming past each other about completely different priorities while pretending to debate objective superiority. It's like arguing pizza versus hamburgers while convinced you're debating nutrition science. Both are food. Both have strengths. You're talking about different things. But here's what both sides are missing. I spent 40 hours analyzing those 500 threads, counting arguments, looking for patterns, and I found something that's going to make you uncomfortable. The people arguing the loudest? Most of them have owned one brand, maybe neither. They're defending positions they inherited from marketing exposure, not experience. Here's how I know. Journal of Consumer Psychology did a study in 2022. Researchers showed people luxury car advertisements. Group A saw BMW performance ads, dynamics, driving pleasure, the ultimate driving machine. Group B saw Audi technology ads, Quattro, innovation, refinement, 5 minutes of ads. Then both groups rated BMW versus Audi on performance, technology, overall preference. Most participants had never sat in either brand, never driven either brand, never owned either brand. Group A rated BMW significantly higher. Group B rated Audi significantly higher. 5 minutes of advertising created strong brand preferences in people with zero direct experience. And here's the part that should terrify you. When researchers asked why they preferred their brand, participants gave detailed engineering justifications. Steering feel, Quattro capability, weight distribution, all-wheel drive safety. They created rational explanations for preferences implanted by advertising they'd seen 5 minutes earlier. That's you. That's what's happening in your brain right now. You think you chose your brand based on careful evaluation of engineering priorities matched to your driving needs. You didn't. You were targeted by advertising that identified your specific insecurities and sold you an identity that patches over them. You think you're defending engineering. You're defending marketing narratives implanted through repetition. And your brain constructed rational explanations after the fact to justify an emotional decision you don't remember making. Here's how the identity construction actually works. Your job isn't unique. Your hobbies are shared by millions. Your political views were algorithmically determined by your social media feed. Your house looks like every other house in your neighborhood. You're statistically average in almost every measurable way. But your car? That defines you. That separates you from the mass of average people doing average things. BMW drivers construct identity around skill and understanding. I appreciate driving dynamics these sheep can't comprehend. I understand steering feel, weight transfer, oversteer versus understeer. I'm an enthusiast. I'm not average. Intellectual elitism with a BMW badge. You're not buying a car. You're buying proof that you're different, that you understand things others don't, that you're part of an elite group of people who get it. Audi drivers construct identity around progress and sophistication. I embrace modern technology and innovation instead of clinging to outdated traditions like some boomer stuck in 1985. I value refinement and intelligence over chest-beating theatrics. I'm forward-thinking. I'm not primitive. Technocratic superiority with an Audi badge. You're not buying a car. You're buying proof that you're evolved, sophisticated, smarter than the traditionalists. Once that identity is internalized, your brain goes into permanent defense mode. Because attacking the brand is attacking you. BMW owner sees an Audi stuck in snow? Proof that Quattro is marketing lies, ignoring that the car had bald tires. Audi owner sees a BMW fishtailing in the rain. Proof that rear-wheel drive is dangerous, ignoring that the driver was doing 80 in a 45. You're not evaluating evidence. You're collecting ammunition for a war you didn't realize you enlisted in. And the corporations know this. BMW's slogan, the ultimate driving machine. The hidden message isn't, we make good cars. It's if you don't choose us, you're not a real driver. You're a fake enthusiast who needs electronic assistance to do what real drivers do naturally. Audi slogan, Vorsprung durch Technik, advancement through technology. The hidden message isn't, we innovate. It's, if you don't choose us, you're stuck in the past, clinging to obsolete traditions while the world moves forward without you. Both slogans are psychological warfare disguised as brand positioning. They're selling tribal membership with built-in enemies. And you fell for it so completely you defend these corporations for free. BMW sold 2 million cars last year. Audi sold 1.8 million. They're not competing for your money. They already got that. They're competing for your identity, your ego, your free labor as a volunteer marketer for a corporation that would replace you with an algorithm if it increased quarterly profits by 0.5%. And you're giving it to them. 60 grand on an identity purchase, not a transportation purchase. Let me tell you about Dave. 6 years ago, Dave bought a BMW 330i, defended it in forums like he was protecting family honor. Called Audi drivers computer-dependent sheep who'd never experienced real driving. Spent hours, maybe hundreds of hours, arguing that rear-wheel drive was objectively superior to all-wheel drive I watched him do this. We were in the same forums. Last year, Dave traded his BMW for an Audi A4. I was there when he picked it up. We went to lunch. He got really quiet, then said something I haven't forgotten. The BMW was more fun on back roads. I'm not going to lie about that. Steering feel was real. The chassis rotated on command. The engine sounded incredible. All of that was true. But I only drove those back roads twice a month, maybe 3 times if I made excuses to take the long way home. The other 28 days? Commuting in Seattle rain, white-knuckling every intersection. Terrified at stoplights on hills because the back end would step out on me. Traction control couldn't save me on those cheap run-flat tires the dealer installed. I was managing a physics problem twice a day, 5 days a week, so I could feel like an enthusiast twice a month. The Audi makes sense for my actual life instead of the life I convinced myself I was living. Then he said, the line that's haunted me. I wasted 6 years defending a choice that didn't match my reality, because admitting that felt like admitting I was wrong about who I am. I mentioned Dave's story in a forum thread 3 months ago. Over 300 comments. 0 people said, good for you for making a choice based on your actual priorities. 42 people called him a fake enthusiast. 38 people said he never understood BMW in the first place. 19 people said he was a marketing victim. 14 people questioned whether he could even drive manual. I watched friendships end over this. I've seen family dinners turn hostile because someone bought the wrong brand. I know a guy whose wife stopped talking to him for a week because he traded their Audi for a BMW without consulting her, not because of the money, because her friends would judge her. Death threats. Actual death threats in private messages over which German sedan someone chose, over cars that will both be worthless in 10 years. Here's the financial reality nobody wants to acknowledge. That $65,000 BMW, worth $18,000 in 10 years. That $62,000 Audi, worth $16,000 in 10 years. The steering feel you defended for 6 years, worn out, bushing shot. Steering rack loose. Quattro you praised as revolutionary? Maintenance nightmare. Haldex system failed. $1,200 repair. Both cars depreciate 40% in 3 years. You're defending depreciating assets while pretending you're defending engineering principles. But the financial loss isn't the real cost. The real cost is relationships. I've watched friendships end over this. Family dinners turn hostile, marriages strained, people who refuse to ride in each other's cars because of the badge on the grill. Harassment in forum comments, death threats in private messages over German sedans, and the psychological damage that stays with you. Tribalism doesn't end when you sell the car. It trains your brain that your worth is tied to which badge sits on your grill, that picking sides and defending them irrationally is normal, that attacking people who question your choice is justified, that corporations are your friends and people who made different choices are your enemies. You carry that programming into every other decision. Politics, phones, game consoles, sports teams, the tribalism stays. The car goes, but the damage is permanent. Remember that stoplight from the beginning? You're sitting there next to the other brand, cold glances, unnecessary acceleration, performing for an audience of one. Except now you know what's actually happening. You're not enemies. You're both victims of the same psychological manipulation, both trying to fill the same hole in your identity with a depreciating asset that will be worthless in a decade. The other driver made a different choice based on different marketing exposure and different insecurities. That's it. That's the whole story. The rivalry isn't about engineering differences. It's about two marketing departments that discovered tribalism sells better than quality, and customers who fell for it so completely they forgot they were being manipulated in the first place. Here's how you know if the manipulation worked on you. Tell me which brand you drive in the comments. But more importantly, tell me one thing you'll admit the other brand does better. Just one thing. If you can do that, if you can admit the other side has a legitimate strength, there's hope. But if you can't, if the idea of admitting the other brand does anything better makes you angry right now, if you're already formulating arguments in your head about why that's impossible, congratulations. The manipulation worked perfectly. You're exactly where they want you. A volunteer marketer defending their honor for free while they count your money. I'm Rick. I was tribal about BMW for 6 years. Wasted hundreds of hours defending a corporation that didn't know I existed. I'm done with it. The question is whether you are.